Shri Krishna. Enlightening text 31 and text 32 of chapter 2, Divinity and Divine Service of first Canto creation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 31. Taya vilasi teshveshu guneshu gunavani va antah pravishta abhati vijnanen vijrumbhitah. After creating the material substance, the Lord Vasudeva expands himself and enters into it. And although he is within the modes of material nature and appears to be one of the created beings, he is always fully enlightened in his transcendental position. The living entities are separated parts and parcels of the Lord, and the conditioned living entities who are unfit for the spiritual kingdom are striven within the material world to enjoy matter to the fullest extent. As Paramatma and eternal friend of the living entities, the Lord, by one of his plenary portions, accompanies the living entities to guide them in their material enjoyment and to become witness to all activities. While the living entities enjoy the material conditions, the Lord maintains his transcendental position without being affected by the material atmosphere. In the Vedic literatures, Shruti, it is said that there are two birds in one tree. Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya samanam bruksham parishas vajate tayor anyah piplam swadvati anashanan anya abhichakshiti. Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.1. One of them is eating the fruit of the tree while the other is witnessing the actions. The witness is the Lord and the fruit eater is the living entity. The fruit eater living entity has forgotten his real identity and is overwhelmed in the fruitive activities of the material conditions, but the Lord Paramatma is always full in transcendental knowledge. That is the difference between the super soul and the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul, the living entity, is controlled by the laws of nature, while the Paramatma or the super soul is the controller of the material energy. Text 32. Yatha haya vahito vahanira darusha vekah swayonishu nane bhati vishvatma bhuteshu cha tatha kuman. The Lord as super soul pervades all things, just as fire permeates wood, and so he appears to be of many varieties, though he is the absolute one without a second. Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by one of his plenary parts, expands himself all over the material world, and his existence can be perceived even within the atomic energy. Matter, antimatter, protons, neutrons, etc. are all different effects of the Paramatma feature of the Lord. As from wood, fire can be manifested, or as butter can be churned out of milk, so also the presence of the Lord as Paramatma can be felt by the process of legitimate hearing and chanting of the transcendental subjects, which are especially treated in the Vedic literatures like the Upanishads and Vedanta. Srimad Bhagavatam is the bona fide explanation of these Vedic literatures. The Lord can be realized through the oral reception of the transcendental messages, and that is the only way to experience the transcendental subject. As fire is kindled from wood by another fire, the divine consciousness of man can similarly be kindled by another divine grace. His divine grace, the spiritual master, can kindle the spiritual fire from the wood-like living entity by imparting proper transcendental messages injected through the receptive ear. Therefore, one is required to approach the proper spiritual master through receptive ears only, and thus divine existence is gradually realized. The difference between animality and humanity lies in this process only. A human being can hear properly, whereas an animal cannot. Hare Krishna.